Welcome to another exciting episode of the IsaacBoyz podcast. Dwayne the Ghost, alongside Terrorizing, coming at you guys with episode 98.
98.
Episode 98, slowly approaching
That 100
the
mark.
long coveted episode 100. Highly anticipated. Can't wait till it shows up. Still looking for cool ideas for things to do, but
We'll figure something out.
100%. But yeah, we continue to, do what we do here at the VIVN IBPC. Coming off of on yet another good week at the lounge. We had some interesting things, interesting developments, interesting circumstances that kind of yielded to some more interesting things. But all in all, it was a good week. The week that kind of capped off the month, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Capped off a pretty
solid month. We also just happened to be twinning today. Completely not planned.
Yeah, this just kind of happened.
Another one of those days where things this kind of happens,
Yeah.
This happens on many occasions. Just so happen it happens on a Monday.
Part of being twins.
But yeah, we capped off a very strong month. Last month being our, head and shoulders above all other months.
Yeah,
our
record
best
month
Yeah.
so far. So it's good to see that, like we mentioned before, that we are on the upward trend, and things are moving definitely in the right direction. So, but as far as the developments this week, obviously there was no fight talk, so there was no UFC pay-per-views or free cards, so we just end up not doing much. But we end up having another watch party that just kind of happened impromptu and turned out to be great, which we'll probably get into a little bit, maybe around fight talk as well. Get into that, but outside of that, ton of new faces this week. New faces and reoccurring faces, of course. Some of the regulars came through, and it looks like we're getting some new regulars, which is good and exciting to see. So, yeah, things, like I said, moving in the right direction there.
And some stuff we ordered are supposed to be shipping soon to do some upgrades that we plan to do for the lounge. So that's going to be some fun stuff there. Yeah,
when that comes in, we're going to have some work to kind of figure out how we're going to do it. But it's going to be a nice little upgrade. And then after that, there's some more upgrades, of course, on the way. And actually, I had some more thoughts on that, but we'll discuss that off air. But
oh boy,
I thought an interesting something I noticed with our new renovations that we're going to be doing. A potential setup for more stations, but
more awesomeness.
Yeah, we'll get into that off cam, of course. But outside of all those things, their new development as well is that we may be bringing on a new member to the team.
Yeah, we've been discussing this for a long time, and if you guys are not new to the podcast, we've heard us mention this a couple of times now. Different people that we think would be good additions, but we keep meeting new people, and we keep finding, better suited people. Not like so far everyone that we thought that could potentially join the crew, it would be a great addition. Each and every last one of them would be great. I think if we decided to go with anyone, it would be good. But this new addition, that was a new person that we met, might be the best one so far in terms of, some aspects of
filling
some gaps some holes that we definitely leave, because being that we're a two-man band here, we a lot of things get kind of swept under the rug, or kind of gets
pushed the wayside,
put on hold for a while, and we sometimes have a hard time getting back to it. So just staying organized and getting some just some proper structure on certain things, I think would be a great addition. Again, no guarantees, and that's why we're being very vague with it right now. You know, we're not doing it to be spiteful or anything. We're just want to be
We're doing our due diligence.
Doing our due diligence. Gonna make sure we do all our due diligence to make sure that this is something that we really want to do, and make sure that it's something that will benefit us as well as the person involved. We want to make sure that all parties are happy, all parties are taken care of, and it could be a healthy relationship moving forward.
Yep.
And honestly, cool just looking forward to having another body to fill in some gaps. Just that it's a welcome change.
Long overdue. Also, this week I think I mentioned it last week that I started therapy, but that continues. It actually officially started last week Friday, and I did that again this morning as well, which is quite the interesting experience. Back is feeling a lot better actually. After so far, like with just the few sessions that I did, I would say pain is just about gone for the most part.
I guess money well spent.
Yeah, but according to them, I gotta be doing this till November, so we'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not, again, if you're already feeling better, it's just about making sure that those muscles get that muscle memory of, good alignment. It's you feel better now because things are in place, but it's time to develop that muscle memory, and I guess it takes that long to develop. So,
yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it's yeah, quite the experience.
But one thing I've been doing, since you started, having those back issues and stuff, it makes me more cognizant of the way
you sit.
I sit posture wise.
Yeah, my posture is terrible.
So is mine. I think most people's posture is terrible. So when I'm playing video games now, every now and again, if I think about it, I'll just like purposely sit awkwardly, cock bump for lack of a better term. Just to hopefully develop that muscle memory of
Yeah, straighten the lower back up.
Yeah,
gives the
proper alignment.
Yeah, that it needs.
Positioning. So I do that from every now and again just to be mindful of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it was developed also too from the long hours of sitting as well. Because before my previous occupation was standing mostly. Like 90% of the day I was standing. So now it's quite the opposite now, and it's like I think these hours of sitting now here at the lounge kind of threw the body out of whack for a little bit, but working it out.
You gotta get up and do something, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta get up as often as possible.
Go for a walk. I try to go for a walk every time I come to the lounge now. Like whether it's go pick up the mail or
doing some errands, kind of walk instead of drive.
Yeah. It's a good habit because these chairs are pretty comfortable, and comfort doesn't do you any well.
Too much of it anyway.
Too much comfort doesn't do you any good. Yeah.
Yeah. So all things considered, like we said, solid week. We'll see what this week brings. We do have a UFC this weekend, so that's gonna be interesting.
A really big one.
And
definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll definitely get into that later. Looking forward to that. So what's coming out this week in
game wise?
Video game wise,
every week can't be a banger, but this one has some interesting titles. MLB The Show 22. The new one's coming out.
Okay.
And it continues the trend of being on all consoles.
There you go.
So that's interesting.
I guess it was a success. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think I'm not sure if this one I don't know if it's a day one exclusive on Game Pass. I'm not sure.
That would be interesting.
Because I know the last one was on Game Pass. So
that would be interesting.
That would be extremely interesting. Because again, MLB The Show being once upon a time a PlayStation exclusive.
It is a Sony Studios game, so it's made from Sony Studios directly, but it's for Xbox, which is kind of cool. Well, for all consoles.
Yeah, and Nintendo Switch.
But if it's on Game Pass, which is you can play it free on Xbox, but
you gotta pay for it
on PlayStation, which is
Well, I mean, once they roll out their new the new stuff, I'm sure there's going to be on there as well too.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I wonder if they. I mean, being that they own the rights to it, is it still going to be on Game Pass? I somehow, just knowing how Sony plays, I doubt it. But there's also the new RPG Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition is coming out, as well as very anticipated title, Advance Wars Reboot.
Oh, there you go.
Advance Wars 1 and 2. Yep.
Reboot Camp.
Yep. Reboot Camp. That's the exact title. And that is coming out on the 7th. So I don't know. So far, Nintendo Switch has been hitting. So it has been dropping some bangers recently.
Some decent titles coming out of the Nintendo camp.
Seems like every week, some good from Nintendo's dropping. Still haven't got a chance to check out my guy Kirby, but definitely do plan on doing that. Just so many games, so little time.
Good problem to have.
But yeah, that's the popular titles that's coming out for next week. There's some other ones, but I'm not familiar with them. I'm not gonna start talking like I know what I'm talking about.
Looking forward to Advance Wars for sure. I wanna check it out because
it's been a game that I wanted to get into when it first came out back in the day. Just never did, and this might be another opportunity to revisit that, scratch that itch from long ago.
Yep, 100%. Also coming out this week, movie-wise anyway. Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Of course, we coming out with the success of the first one. Second one, highly anticipated. Was looking forward to it for a while now, so it's finally here. I'm not sure if we're gonna get a chance to see it this week, but most definitely next week.
Probably
if
next
anything,
week for sure.
We'll get a chance to check that out.
This week is shaping up to be somewhat of a busy week.
Yeah.
And I'm still tired from last week. So.
Which we may have to start implementing what we talked about. The
Yeah.
hours that may come in to play sooner rather than later. Because I'm definitely feeling it too as well.
But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Definitely looking forward to it. I mean, we've spoken about it on the podcast before. It's definitely one of those titles that, in my eyes, can do no wrong at this point. I mean, from where it started off like so bad, and then once they fixed that, it was just like it just skyrocketed because like
they listened to the consumer.
Something so simple could have destroyed that entire movie franchise. And it's not. I mean, I say simple, but it's really not that simple. But yeah, something small hiccup in design could have destroyed that franchise, and now it's
perfect.
Now it's perfect. Now it's popular, and now it's popping, and I definitely can't wait for it. The casting choices, and it's like it's so weird because it's a video game movie. Like it has a lot of the feels of I guess for lack of a better 90s video game movies, which was just kind of just weird and like kind of out of place and like
kind of campy almost.
Yeah, and it's like that, but it's done right. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have a 3D Sonic interacting in a real world, and he's definitely animated, so it's like okay, but it's still done well enough that you could take it serious. You can take it somewhat seriously. You know what I mean? I think it's just so well done. I think the casting is great too. Like Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. Like hearing that on the outside looking in before we even know what I was like
what to expect.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess, Even his first design was like, oh, it's not really Robotnik, and it's Jim Carrey, he's not really fat, Okay. Whatever. But then once you saw the movie, you're like, oh, well, okay, this is,
pretty good.
This is really good. And now they give him his getting back to his original design. Now it's like even better. And it's weird because like usually with comic book movies, video game movies, continuity, what's canon. I definitely do pay attention to these things. And it's like it has to be at least somewhat in the realm of what the continuity is in the game. And this movie is not. It's absolutely not. But it's still so good. I don't know. It's
it's one of the rare occasions where going offbeat, off kilter from what the game
it's supposed to be, or with the game laid out.
To do something completely different, and it's still actually
and it
enjoyable.
works.
Actually working.
Actually works.
Because a lot of game studios try this, and it goes terribly wrong.
It goes so bad. It goes terrible. I mean, look at the first Mario Brothers movies. I mean that. Oh, so bad.
What an atrocity.
But and this to me, this movie is on that same vein, but it's just so good.
But it's done.
It's the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the new Mario Brothers movie is going to be. We'll definitely.
Oh yeah, they did mention that they were doing something, right? But it's not live action though.
No, it's not live action. It's gonna be 3D, but still looking forward to it. Another video game movie.
It's gonna be cool. And Idris Elba,
Yeah.
reprising his role as Knuckles, which everyone
he's his first time doing it, so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's not.
He wasn't. He wasn't the first one. Yeah.
He's premiering in the role now as Knuckles, which great choice. So far from the trailers, looks like he
looks great,
living up to what we can expect, from the games and everything. So it's gonna be cool. Another character. I mean, people were saying, they want to see like Shadow next or something like that, but maybe if they do a third one, because rumor has it that this may be Jim Carrey's last movie. Like not just Sonic movie, but movie in general. There's rumors that he may be retiring from movies, so it's
he's getting up there in age. He's not young. You know what I mean?
But if they do a third Sonic movie, I would like to see him. See him come back.
I would like to see him come back.
Just at least do the trilogy, and then you can retire.
Then you can sail off into this one. And for someone as critically acclaimed as Jim Carrey, you'd think he'd go out on a bigger title, but I think he's still giving out his best work. So there's no
can't give him wrong for that at all.
And when you think about it, I mean, this movie will probably do better than a lot of his previous movies. That were like maybe hit or miss. Still Jim Carrey, still good, but once you strap a video game, title on any movie, it already has a big fan base to pull from.
Yeah, so. Built-in audience almost.
So yeah,
it's gonna be cool. Looking forward to that. Also in the video game space, this is not news. Well, it's not breaking news, but we didn't cover it last week, but we'll cover it a little bit this week. Apparently, Fortnite is doing away with building.
Yeah.
And when I first saw this, I thought it was going to be like a temporary thing. It's going to be whatever. But apparently, this is going to be Fortnite moving forward. Well, according to sources. Because it's not,
It's not, yeah.
It's not official, but by the looks of things, yeah.
It's going to be interesting because, there's a lot of... I mean, that's what Fortnite is known for, is the building. But it's also why a lot of people don't play Fortnite. It's because of the building. The building creates such a skill gap that, it definitely polarizes the
player base.
The player base. But at the same time, having no building, I don't think people that were like fans of building, now that there's no building, would stop playing. I think there's probably a handful that will, definitely. But I mean, it changes the entire meta. If in my mind, I always feel like they're gonna do, they're gonna put two different lobbies. I mean, that's how it is. I think that's how it is now. Again, we haven't tested out to check it out, but if that's how it is now, I don't see them doing away with building altogether, honestly, because it's such a strong staple of
It's a core part of the gameplay and the meta of the game. So, but now that there is a no build mode,
is it worth jumping back into?
Because I mean, for the most part, it's like the shooting is fairly easy mode. Like for people that are like diehard, shooting game, players, it's pretty easy.
Pretty easy to pick up.
So I mean, and I see they're incorporating some vehicles now, other vehicles like tanks and things like that now. It's looking kind of Call of Duty-esque.
Yeah, it's a
Or Battlefield-esque.
it's a battle royale of epic gaming proportions. It's definitely turning into Ready Player One, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely turning into that.
It's the closest thing we have to a real-world example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as, VR becomes, the main way people play video games now. And
More, yeah, then that's it. Fortnite's still going on. That'll be how you play Fortnite. Then there you go.
Ready Player One right there.
Great movie, by the way. But yeah, Fortnite doing a no-bill mode. I mean, because when you look at all the different characters, the cast of different, not really characters, but I guess skins, that's in the game. It that alone is a reason for you to play.
Mm-hmm.
But the building is obviously what would keep you away from that. But now, I definitely have invested in a couple of skins,
As have I.
and don't even play the game anymore. But now maybe it might be a good opportunity to dust it off. See what's popping in the Fortnite world. I don't know. Who knows? I might update it tonight.
I updated mine's. Still haven't turned it on to check it out yet, but I think I might do so sometime this week. Maybe even tonight. We'll see.
Maybe.
We will see. Another cool game I saw came to the Game Pass, Tunic.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a pretty cool game. I downloaded it. I haven't checked it out yet, but from what I've seen of it, the game is like a cross between like the Souls games and like Zelda, like classic NES Zelda or Super Nintendo Zelda, but done more modern and 3D. Pretty good presentation wise, anyway. But I'll probably play it this week. Bring back some.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see it, I was like, "Oh, this game looks pretty cool."
Yeah, because from what I gather, they don't tell you how to play the game. There is an instruction manual built into the game, but it's not in a language that really exists. So you're gonna kind of have to figure it out as you play, and just use the manual as kind of like hints, if you will, as far as how to do certain things. And it's done. The manual's done in a way like it's in the old school NES manuals, like we used to get back in the day. So
Super Nintendo manual.
Super Nintendo, yeah. So it's very very retro in that regard, but apparently the game is very hard because they don't tell you anything. So.
Difficulty in games has been a topic of discussion lately because of Elden Ring and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean difficulty is good in games. For a long time, there's been a lot of pushback on that. But Elden Ring.
Well, one of the challenges, what makes this interesting, just like Elden Ring, is that there's no difficulty setting either. So it just is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's good. That's I wish more developers would go that route because, I mean, yes, you do want to make your game accessible to everybody, but I kind of feel like the people that are truly going to be your core fan base will enjoy a title whether it's easy or hard. It's just a matter of because that comes with the what's the word I'm looking for?
Experience.
Yeah, it comes with the game experience and what you're gonna enjoy out of the game when you think back on the game, the different discoveries, the different things that you learn how to do. That's part of the experience. So dumbing that down with a difficulty, I mean, granted, it does push a lot of people away from it. They'll be like, "Oh man, this game's too hard. I'm not gonna play it," kind of thing. But it's one of those things that in life, you know what I mean. If everything was easy, everybody'd be fat, 200 pounds,
and wealthy.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't work that way. There has to be some forging, you got to go through some things
some struggle
to advance in life, and it's just it makes you enjoy life that much better because going through the rough patch and then overcoming is an aspect of life that's far it's becoming more of a a topic that people run away from or try to avoid. You know, everybody wants the easy road. Everybody wants it now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wants to go through a little bit of hardship. But you know, going through that hardship is what's going to forge, you know, overall a better you.
Yep.
You know, and that same thing can be said for video games, in that, you know, it forges the experience. You know what I mean? You're like
look at Elden Ring. Like
Elden Ring is the perfect example of that. That game is stupid hard. Like there's things, especially if you want to play the way you want to play, you're gonna run into some difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's been so many times in Elden Ring where I fight a boss, get one shot, and be like, huh, how am I gonna beat this? There's like no way. There's no silver lining at the end of the rainbow or nothing. It's like you're just gonna lose every single time. You're gonna respawn. You're gonna go there, and you're gonna lose every single time.
gotta figure it out.
And you just gotta figure it out. And I've fought countless bosses where it was exactly like that. I'm like, I don't see a path to victory, but I just keep respawning every time. I just go back in there and see, okay, what can I learn? And it's just amazing how over time there's like, huh, and strategies start to form. As a matter of fact, one of the last boss I fought, I thought was like, I mean, I was like, well, I guess I was doing a quest line. I'm not really going into all the details and boring about it with all the details, but it was a quest line I was doing, and it was like, ran into a boss, and I was like, I didn't feel like he gave me any opportunity to do anything really. I mean, he does, but a lot of his timing was, you know, with Elden Ring, herky jerky. So it's like they time things very weird. They time things very specific to. So if you're mashing dodge a lot of times, you will get hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because they time things perfectly where it will line up exactly where you would be outside of the dodge. But anyway, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be. And then I just kept spawning in, and like, you know, hours later, because literally sometimes that's what it takes to beat bosses. You know, you slowly start to form a strategy. You try different things. This didn't work. Okay, this is not gonna work. Maybe I could try this. And then over time, and now when I look back, like when I figured out how to beat the boss, it's like super easy. Like I want to go back and fight him again if I could. You know, just like it was really this easy this whole time. Because it was. When I say super easy, I'm like, I didn't even need anything else. Like I didn't need any new gear or new build or anything. I could have beat him with exactly what I had, all the time. Just a matter of strategy. Yep. And you know, that's perfect example.
And it makes the experience more enjoyable. Like, you know, once you go through all that and you actually
overcome,
come out the other end, overcome, and, you know, successful. It's like, yeah, I did that.
Mm-hmm. It's small victories, but it, you know, to a lot of people it might not mean much, but you know, it's very rewarding, and it's one of the things about Elden Ring that I mean, I kind of enjoy. It's weird, but I kind of enjoy. Like, I like fighting a new boss and be like, all right, how are we gonna overcome this challenge? You know, and most times there's a lot of bosses I have to go back to because I still haven't beaten. You know, but I think I can now. But it's just a matter of, you know, how I play Elden Ring. I just look for, you know, I look for different things that I could help the way I choose to play the game. Look for different ways to build on that, and then I go after those stuff.
Yep.
Despite how difficult it is, like, all right, well, you have to progress the game. All right, well, in order to progress the game, I gotta go through this stupid boss, and it's just ridiculously hard.
Mm-hmm.
So until then, what can I do? All right, you know, just off the next adventure, and then eventually you get to where you need to go, and it's been the experience. This game has been it's been probably the only game I play now, pretty much, for a week. I will say, yeah, and it's cutting into my anime time too. Because usually time I would usually spend, you know, binging an anime, trying to finish anime. It's been soaked up with Elden Ring, unfortunately, and it wasn't a game I was anticipating at all. Yeah. Everybody was, and we were like, oh, you know, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, okay, I get the hype now.
Yep.
Definitely get the hype now. And it's a single player game, and you know, single player games haven't really been that thing for us.
But yeah, we usually like, you know, competitive
multiplayer games, you know.
Yeah.
Elden Ring changed that. Well, I mean, Cyberpunk started that, and then I guess Elden Ring kind of took over that. Yeah.
For sure.
At least for me, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, Another. Oh, I lost my train of thought there. I lost my train of thought, but yeah. Outside of all of that, we do have another thing that we touched on last week that we decided to we meant to test out to bring back news. Hopefully, there was gonna be improvements, but unfortunately, there weren't any. Of course, I'm talking about DNF Duel, where we were hoping for some kind of a training.
Yeah, training mode.
Some kind of mode where you can. There was none of that. It was the same old jump in online. So for that, it was like.
A lot of air out of the sails with that one.
Yeah, I mean, but the game is kind of easy mode, so it's. I guess they feel like you can just kind of figure it out on the fly. Which, if you really wanted to, you could. But it's just like. That's not the way most people play fighting games.
Yeah, when it comes to the fighting game, like, to me, it shows a disconnect from the fighting game community in a sense, because
people requested
it, and I still didn't do anything about it. And it's like, when you play a fighting game, when you're playing a fighting game for the first time, I mean, you do have your casual people that'll just jump on and play and just, mash and figure stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
But the real hardcore, people that play fighting games, the first thing you want to do is go to training mode and see what's possible, see what's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the first thing I do with any fighting game, is jump on and see how what can be done.
Yep, but they didn't give us that
option
privilege at all. So, I mean, I tried playing it, but did I win any game? No, I don't think I did. So, there is that.
Maybe that's one of those Elden Ring things where you gotta
struggle through it, right?
Yeah, struggle through it.
Whatever. I don't want to play DNF Duel that much, but they'll figure it out. I mean, I guess we have to wait for it to come out before we can really get into it. But pretty game.
Yeah, that it is.
I got back into I've been playing some Apex, of course, and you talked about the new event. I've been trying to work my way through that.
I haven't even touched that.
There is some Bangalore lore.
Some Bangalore lore.
Part of me feel like this was supposed to come out last season when we did drop into the new map, and they started doing some kind of Bangalore lore, about a brother and everything. But they kind of concluded it in this one, and it's quite interesting how the way they do it. Well, it's not concluded yet, but it looks like it's building toward a conclusion. But it's like a firing range challenge that kicks it off, and then a little not really a cinematic, but a little kind of comic booky story thing comes up with Wraith and her talking, and pretty much her brother's dead, and her coming to terms with that. It's kind of, if you're a Bangalore fan, I'm sure it's a tearjerker for you, but it's interesting because you're seeing Bangalore in a different light. For those of us that follow the lore, instead of being her, her usual hard, military grown person, seeing her, just seeing the walls come down and seeing her, crying and
a little more vulnerable.
getting more vulnerable and more emotional. It's interesting. But they're still dropping the. I think it may be the last one. Probably dropped today, maybe. We'll check it out and see, but I still gotta finish it. But yeah, I love all the lore pieces for Apex. The Bloodhound one that I did a few months ago was really great, and I think this one may kind of build towards that somewhat. I think, or something like it, hopefully. But we'll see. We will see. Also, we checked out a couple of TV shows that we were kind of anticipating watching. One of which, of course, being Moon Knight. Moon Knight was kind of lived up to the hype, huh?
It certainly has. I actually, believe it or not, I watched it twice back to back, which was kind of crazy. I've never really done that for any show. And it wasn't really because it was like, oh, so good, I had to watch it twice kind of thing. I watched it while my son was sleeping. He woke up and he was like, can we watch it? I'm like, sure. And I just turned it on again. Which was interesting. Really good show. I'm trying to pin down what I really liked about the show. it was a nice intro.
Yeah, to the Moon Knight character.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they, how they showed his multiple personality disorder. Because I mean, it's not a new concept. We've seen it in a bunch of different movies, and it's actual real disorder. But the way they did it in this movie, you can tell that he's somewhat aware of it, but then he's not fully aware of what happens with those other personalities, and
a lot of it is shot from like I guess from one of the, because you can't really say his personality because it's like which one is the real one, you know what I mean?
So it's shot from one personality.
The
first episode is anyway.
Perspective, yeah.
From like his perspective, that perspective, but once other personalities take over, like
you don't even see what happens. But
you don't see, he blacks out.
When he comes back, things are completely.
Oh, spoiler alert! Anyway, that's not really much of a spoiler, but
no, we haven't really gone through too much of the story arc on the.
Yeah, no.
It's just kind of known stuff, right? I don't want to
go too deep and
mess people up, but we're kind of talking in general.
Yeah, it's a good introduction to see how they did that, and then all the other things that come with that, coming to the end of the episode, I think was pretty cool, and they don't shy away from the Moon Knight lore. So
yeah, it's it's kind of crazy to think that it's part of the MCU. Like, whenever they introduce a new Marvel character like that, and they give them free range of creative, abilities on that. I'm always interested to see how it's gonna play out. Like, okay, could this actually be in the MCU? Where was this going on when other things were going on? Like, is it believable? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one, it has a lot of explaining to do. So
we'll go on the ride and see.
But I have
what will come of it.
If you go on YouTube, there's a lot of people explaining that kind of stuff, which I'm glad there is, because I saw some good videos that kind of like, okay, that makes sense. That the difference, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but yeah. But it's definitely a cool character. I'm interested to see, how more of the action plays out. Like, I'm dying to see how some of that is gonna play out. I think it's gonna be
seeing Moon Knight in action. You mean?
Yeah. I doubt. I don't know, but I don't think so. They're gonna introduce the Moon Knight jet that he has, but
probably not.
Probably that's probably gonna go away.
Yeah, that's very that's very campy comic book stuff. So I'm sure they'll stay away from that kind of stuff. But as far as like Khonshu and all that, I'm sure they're gonna.
Khonshu's voice is a little weird for me too. Like, if I had to pick on something, it'd be that.
It sounds like Optimus Prime to me. So
yeah, it wasn't like, it's not a bad voice. I'm just like, for a being such like how it seemed a little more like there's some humor to it in a sense, but not really. But I don't know. It was kind of weird. Like, if I had to say one thing about it I didn't like, it would be that. But it wasn't like didn't like to the point where it messed it up for me at all, because it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
It's just I'm waiting. So we're still waiting for
more developments.
More developments and stuff like that for me to put a final verdict on that. But coming out this week, so definitely looking forward to that.
Yep, we'll definitely watch it. Bring back another non-spoiler review. Episode 2, but episode 1 definitely introduced everything. It got you set up. It was they knocked it out of the park. I think great episode all the way around.
Great episode.
Looking forward to
it's amazing how Marvel just
just does it right.
Unlike a whole nother topic from that. I heard some other news today that was like, oh, really? Whatever, man. On the DC side of things.
Anywho,
I guess Ben Affleck wants to play Batman again.
Good on you, mate.
Apparently, rumor is he had so much, because apparently he's going to be in the Flash movie.
And
he had so much fun playing Batman that he wants to reprise his role as Batman.
Snyder Cut's still alive, so Snyderverse is alive and well. So that's their Batman. So it is what it is. Excuse me.
Also, when it comes to the comic book and DC Marvel stuff, Disney Plus, I think it was today it announced that they are gonna do Daredevil season 4.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. So I
Interesting.
guess because for the longest time I was hearing they're gonna reboot,
They're gonna reboot, yeah.
but now I'm hearing it's just gonna be season 4.
Good.
Same cast, everything.
I can't wait to see it. That's gonna be great. Daredevil is spectacular. Looking forward to that.
That's gonna be very interesting moving forward, because now you have yet another Marvel show. I mean, and they just like from time I think we talked about it before when they brought over the whole Netflix stuff.
Catalog, yeah.
It just opened up their Marvel library tenfold, like ridiculous, like. And now that they're making all that stuff canon, which to me in my mind it always kind of was,
Always, yeah.
but now they're making it official. Like, yeah, all this stuff is canon. It was like, it just for people that are getting into Marvel and need stuff to watch now. Now you like if you didn't before, now you
Can go back.
you can go back and watch it. And if you did watch before, now and you want more of the Marvel fix, you can still, because all the Luke Cage stuff is great, Daredevil stuff is great, Punisher stuff is great. Jessica Jones first season was great. Iron Fist. That's probably my only hang up about the whole Netflix stuff is the Iron Fist. And he wasn't too bad. They just the perspective they took on it was just a little different. Like they didn't really go into how he got his power or anything. They just kind of started him with already having his power in a sense. Coming back and having his power. So, if they do decide to do another season, they should go back.
Yeah, especially with all the success of Shang-Chi. I think
they could definitely play into that. There's definitely aspects where they can combine that. That's where they should go now with that. So again, literally sky's the limit with Marvel. It's ridiculous how
just a well-oiled machine over there.
It's just working. They're just giving you what you want in wholesale, wholesale in bulk. You know what I mean? It's just you're just getting all the goodies.
And with Moon Knight, I think Moon Knight's gonna kind of be the catalyst to usher in like this kind of the supernatural side of Marvel. Because we got the cosmic side, with Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor and that kind of thing. Got more of a cosmic side of things. You got, of course, your earthbound things as well.
Yeah, street level earthbound.
Street level stuff. Now we're getting our kind of our. Well, we got what Doctor Strange. You did get some of your.
It started to introduce a little bit of supernatural. Multiverse of Madness definitely will as well. And of course, Celestials at the end. With definitely blades in it. So it's it's dipping its feet. It started dipping its feet, but now
the supernatural stuff. Yeah.
Now it's definitely gonna dive in, and there's a lot of talks of setting up Midnight Suns. Like, it's always. What I like about what Marvel does, they always, they give you different stuff and then they combine it. You know what I mean? Like, you had your different Marvel movies and then it came together with Avengers, and then you had your different Netflix movies and it came together with the Defenders. You know what I mean? And it's like they're showing you that this is a shared universe and that all these things are, and it's fun and it's exactly what happens in the comics. So it's like
it's why we watch.
It's why we watch. You're watching the comic book come to life. And it's just
great.
It's just such a great thing.
Love it. Other show like we mentioned before, Halo, episode 1.
Yep.
We got a chance to check that out as well. Not as hyped about that as I thought I would be. Well, I mean, based off of the rumors and stuff and the things I said last week, I was going in kind of low expectations for the most part. And safe to say my low expectations were met. But
that's the thing for me. Like, after hearing, your low expectations, and then I think you watched it before I did, and you kind of let me know, like, I didn't go in, feeling very good about it, but when I actually watched it, I'm like, okay. I didn't mind. I could watch it. It's not. Again, there's a lot of creative differences that they creative liberties that they took with certain characters and stuff like that. And yeah,
it departs from the video game, of course.
And of course,
which is fine.
Chief taking off his helmet is like, okay, but it's.
I'm not too excited about that.
I'm not either, and I hate you better put it back on and leave it on. But at the same time,
if it came out this early, I doubt it's going back on. Maybe for the action sequences when they just CGI him doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But I didn't mind it so much. Like I'm actually looking forward to the next episode just to see where it goes.
How the story develops.
Again, it's definitely not on the same wavelength as like a Moon Knight or anything great like that. It's just all right. They're using Halo characters and
telling a different story.
It's just it's whatever, It's whatever. It's like if somebody was to do a Halo comic book, and just and you were to read it and it was cool, or if someone did a live action Halo that was on YouTube and it was like, oh, let's see what this is, and they actually did a good job, and you just kind of respect it for what it is, but it's not. It doesn't really, that's kind of like where I'm at with it. Is like it's whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, and the story they're telling, it seems interesting. Hopefully, it gets better.
There's a lot
to build on there, but
a lot of moving parts.
We'll see how it goes, but like I said, my low expectations were met. It's not great, in my opinion. But there are some redeeming factors there that you could like, all right, I'll check out episode 2. But outside of that, it says what it is, man. That. Moving right along, we'll go straight into our fight talk, which there's not a ton to cover, obviously, because we didn't have any UFC this weekend past.
But we definitely will break down the upcoming card.
Well, before we get into that, like we mentioned earlier, we still end up doing a watch party. And it wasn't for, any combat sport or anything. Well, for the most part. But this past weekend was WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania, baby. And we don't miss a WrestleMania. Even though we don't watch wrestling. Well, I don't watch wrestling religiously like I used to. I still, catch WrestleMania because it's such a big spectacle. It's such a great show, and they always do a good job. And who knew that our customer base were majority of them were wrestling fans.
Yes, they were.
Had no idea.
Nor did I.
They actually requested, if we could put it on. We were like, didn't know you guys were into this. And I thought I would have missed some of the day too, but turned it on in the lounge and people were into it.
It was a big hit. People came up. There's a lot of discussion going back and forth, and it was good times.
It was definitely good times. Even more so that I feel like we could probably start another watch party with wrestling pay-per-views maybe. Because I had no clue that our customer base was this big of fans, but they were, and they enjoyed it. So I was kind of happy to see that. Kind of happy that we were able to provide that space. Because even for the main event, it did have that big fight feel.
It kind of did.
Like, it was kind of like a UFC almost.
It was kind of weird, but yeah, it actually did, because people had their opinions on how things should go, and I had my opinions on how things should go, and it just
we all watched and excitement. It was great.
I didn't thought it would be this entertaining, but it was. I mean, it's always entertaining for me to watch wrestling, just to see what's going on, see the stories they tell, that kind of thing. But to experience that with different people of like mind, it
was cool.
It was a cool experience, I will say. And yeah, like you said, we will be. I don't really pay that much attention, but I guess whenever stuff comes out, I'll keep my ear close to the ground to.
Yeah, we'll start pitching it to the people here. Let them know we're showing the pay-per-view.
If you want to come out, if you don't have a means to watch it, we will provide that.
There you go. And their pay-per-views are on Sundays too, right?
They're always on Sundays, so.
They're always on Sundays, so and then that's once a month. Is it like
Pretty
usually
much.
once a month?
Once a month.
Yeah.
They're not like every week like UFC is,
Mhm.
but you know.
Yeah, we can definitely fit it in the rotation. Well, UFC pay-per-views are once a month, so so this is also I'd say the same thing. So can definitely fit it in the rotation. I think it's gonna be cool. But yeah, this weekend we have quite the card. I don't really want to go through the entire card breaking it down, but the main card for sure. There's a lot to cover there.
Well, I mean, we can kind of build
Yeah,
up there. We're not gonna go through every one of them, but you know, for instance, in early prelims you have Oleinik versus Bandera.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's gonna be. I mean, Bandera's gonna win that. This is no doubt in my mind. I mean, Oleinik.
Okay, there it is. Yeah.
Oleinik's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. He has that squeeze.
He has that old man squeeze that just people don't a lot of times don't see it coming, and he pulls out some very interesting wins. But I just don't see Bandera losing this one at all.
Well, and Mark Madden is the main event.
Mark Madsen versus Pichel.
Mm-hmm. And he's still undefeated. He's a Canadian wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're interested to see if he can keep that undefeated streak. Going against Pichel, it's 14-2.
Julio Arce, and that's gonna be the first fight. But getting into the regular prelims, you have Mickey Gall.
Mickey Gall is fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Malloy.
Malo.
There you go.
Malott.
Off the Contender Series.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be a good fight.
I don't remember him though.
Mickey Gall.
Maybe when I see it, it'll jog something.
Mickey Gall's always hit and miss. Sometimes he looks like he can be a world beater, but then he goes up against some competition that stops his momentum. But hopefully he can continue his upwards swing. When he looks good, he looks good. So
yep,
we'll see what comes from this card. And then Aspen Ladd's fighting as well.
Aspen Raquel Pennington. That should be an interesting fight.
Yeah. Pennington.
I mean, we kind of know how that fight's gonna go in terms of not really the result, but it's gonna be one of those women fights that's back and forth. Not a whole lot going on.
Maybe go to decision kind of a thing.
Definitely go to decision kind of thing. Yeah.
We'll see.
One of those.
Yeah. And then Rosenstrike.
Rosenstrike versus Tybura. That should be an interesting one. I mean,
for a while, Rosenstrike was looking like he could be a title contender, but he's had some bad.
Last couple of fights, not just losing wise, but just not exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, he's 12-3, so
he still has a good record. So it's it's just a matter of figuring it out. Tybura is, kind of a veteran at this point. So we'll see how this one plays out.
Ian Gary versus Darian Weeks.
Two very interesting characters. Gary's he had a lot of hype. He was one of those. He's kind of, to me, a little overhyped.
Mm-hmm. I feel so too.
So I'm like, okay. I mean, he's still undefeated, so it's whatever. But Darian Weeks, with that very, he had a very cool. He had a very interesting nickname, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. It's not. I don't see it here, but maybe I'm mistaken him for somebody else.
But at any rate, I think we'll see, how Gary gets out of this one. See if the hype is real.
Yeah, I think I'm mistaken for somebody else.
See if he's worth the squeeze, but that'll be that. But then we move into the main card, which I think there's a lot to get into here.
It's a lot to unpack here, yeah.
Yep. This is gonna be one that it's gonna be one of those cards that we're gonna. It's gonna definitely be super exciting to watch live. First off,
it's only a 4-fight pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Because there's 2 title fights, so.
Yes, that'll do it. UFC's getting smart on that, because it could be a long one. When you put a 5-fight and 2 title fights, it could mean
because both of those can go 5 rounds. That you could stretch out the card, or they can go quick.
Go very quick. So you never,
You never really know, but at any rate, Mackenzie Dern's fighting Tisha Torres to kick off the card.
Mm-hmm.
Both girls have been looking pretty great their last 2 outings, so we'll see who's In my opinion, I would say Tisha Torres she's been more aggressive with her striking.
Mm-hmm.
So if she can avoid the ground, I think she can stand a pretty good shot here. But Mackenzie Dern is that grappling ace, so she wants to fight on the ground. She can 9 times out of 10 get it there and do work. So
Tisha Torres is no joke though.
nope, she's a tiny tornado for a reason.
Tisha Torres is no joke.
At all.
I don't know. I don't see how Mackenzie's gonna win this one. I mean, granted, Mackenzie she does her thing and she's again ground specialist. But Tisha Torres is she has good wrestling too on top of some good striking. So I don't think Mackenzie can take her down. That's the thing.
Time will tell.
I just see Tisha's wrestling out, just being a big factor in where this fight takes place, and I think she's better on the feet. So I just don't see Tisha losing this one, unfortunately. And I like Dern, but he's what it is.
Yep.
But the next fight.
And getting into the main, this could have easily been
a co-main or a main event.
Yeah, in any other card.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking at Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev, which you guys, if you're an MMA fan, you know that name by now. Chimaev is 10-0 in MMA. He tore through his first 3 fights in the UFC fairly quickly.
Very quickly.
And build a hype. Four fights. And
he's
build a lot of hype.
He's just tearing through people.
Mm-hmm.
Just not showing any signs of slowing down. Has not shown any weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Has not even hiccup a little bit.
Yep.
Just what he wants to do, and that's it.
He just does it. But now he's going up against some real competition now, I think, in Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns being, an excellent jiu-jitsu practitioner and has fell in love with his boxing lately, showcasing some of that power and striking ability. So it's going to be interesting to see, if Gilbert Burns shows up confident. He just come off of a TKO victory against Wonderboy, so it's interesting to see where he lands. But against competition like Chimaev, who knows, right? It's gonna be what I would be interested to see is if Chimaev takes him down, and see if that jiu-jitsu ever comes into play on the ground. That would be interesting to see, because Gilbert Burns is as best as anybody when it comes to jiu-jitsu. But where Chimaev shines is that wrestling, that getting you down and controlling you kind of a thing. That's where Chimaev thrives. So, or maybe Chimaev just keeps it on the feet
and just starches him.
Or
maybe he starches Chimaev. Could you imagine that? Chimaev
it's very possible because Gilbert has that power.
But the thing is that, like, if that happens, everyone's gonna say, "Oh, he was hyped too quickly," and all this thing. But
which is not the case.
Which is not the case
because he's been tearing through everyone. He only got hit once. He probably since he got into the UFC,
which makes no sense.
I looked at a stat that when I looked at significant strikes landed versus taken out of UFC fighters, and he's ahead by miles.
Above everybody else.
It's like 200 and something to 2 or 1.
Head and shoulders above everybody else, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. You have to acknowledge it. There's no.
I think Lyoto Machida was number 5 in that list.
Interesting. Yeah. Makes sense though, but interesting.
I forgot who else was on that list. But anyhow.
But yeah, he's just
been that guy.
I remember the first time I saw him, and I was like, "Man, this guy's great." I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, "This guy's great. He's someone I'm gonna be look for." And then a few weeks later, he was back. I was like, "Oh shit, this is great. Get to see him again." And he looked even better, and I was like, I like everything about it, and we spoke about it here on the podcast, and he hasn't slowed down since.
I do feel like they pushed him on the rankings too quickly, though. I would say that, I mean, he has been starting his opponents, but there are some opponents that I would like to see him fight that he may not get a chance of fighting.
Yeah, Neil Magny was one of them.
Neil Magny being one of them, and there's another fighter. I keep forgetting his name. He's I think he's also from Sweden. No, he's not from Sweden. He's a kickboxer, and he has a very Chimaev esque demeanor.
You're talking about Rachmanov.
Yes. Like those two, I'd love to see that fight, but we may not get to see that fight if Rachmanov doesn't.
That fight is just
exactly. But because of how quickly Rachmanov has to do a lot. Gonna have to do
there.
the work that Chimaev should have done to get there. But
True.
he's been doing it though. I think he's still undefeated too as well.
He is still undefeated.
So, but at any rate,
That's the fight I want to see.
that's the fight I wanted to see. But it's looking it's gonna happen. Because if Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns, then he's in the title picture, which is gonna be interesting. Like him against
Usman. Or Izzy.
Or is he? Whichever one he wants. He fights at both weight classes. So, but against Usman, that's gonna be quite the interesting fight.
The issue with Izzy is I feel like he could beat Izzy.
Yeah, I think so too. Izzy's gonna have to do something. He's gonna have to really show his skills. 'Cause Izzy has skills. He doesn't always show them. He kind of coasts through fights a lot. Just take the easy route. But he's gonna really have to show something different. Because Chimaev gets his hands on him.
That's it.
Now, I don't think Chimaev can hit him. Maybe
Doesn't have to.
once he
Gets him down and
that's it.
the mauling begins.
100%. But we're jumping ahead of the gun. That's not happening this weekend. It's Gilbert Burns and Chimaev, so we'll see.
Yep. All
Let's
this
see what gets out of
all
that.
this could be derailed come next week Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But moving along, we have Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan.
Which, as we remember, it's kind of a rematch.
Mhm.
Peter Yan lost his belt due to an illegal knee. And Aljamain Sterling, at first, looked like he was upset and everything. But then later down the road, he starts, actually considering himself the champion.
Mhm.
Actually,
Doing interviews as champion.
champion.
Commercials.
Parading around with the belt and everything, it is what it is.
It is his right as a champion,
He's a champion. But to earn the belt that way, it just leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth.
It just rubs people wrong for sure.
Yeah. But now they get to settle it. And I will say Peter Yan, I was a huge Peter Yan fan when he was coming up. In some of his later fights, I did root against him, but I still like, his style. He has excellent hands, and he's good at reading and making the adjustments in the fight. So those kind of guys are always very dangerous. And in this fight, I honestly don't see how Aljamain Sterling can beat him. I think it's going to be
Peter
more
was
of the same.
beating him last time too, so
Peter was beating him until he did the illegal knee. I think the best round was... Aljamain's best round was probably the first round. After that, Jan just kind of took over. Because he saw what he needed to see and he made the adjustment and started executing on it. But I would say, though, I don't know if you've seen any recent pictures of Aljamain Sterling. He is looking shredded.
bulked up or because he's always been a very lean person.
He's always been pretty lean, but he's looking, I guess, bulked up, but shredded still. Like, his body is like unnaturally shredded.
Mm.
Like, very vascular. You can see, like, all the veins and everything. He's, like, I don't know if he started cutting weight early or what, but I don't see whether he's going to come off. He is, like, if you go on Instagram and look at Aljamain Sterling, he's been posting a lot of stuff. And, he's trying to poke fun at Peter Yan as well, too, but he's looking pretty shredded.
See, that's the thing, once you start getting into the, you're drinking your own Kool-Aid and you're poking fun, especially when your belt is like, I don't know, it's definitely going to rub people the wrong way. He can erase all of that by just going out there and winning.
Mm-hmm.
But until then,
Keep it cool.
I mean, you got to make things interesting. I get it, but the way some people choose to do it is just weird.
Not winning me over anyway. I mean, I've always been kind of on the fence with Aljamain Sterling. Like, sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm on the don't. But if he wins, again, it could change that. I'm not ashamed of being, flip-floppy when it comes to that. And then, of course, your main event.
That is crazy. It's definitely an error, but in the app,
Mm-hmm.
the UFC app, when you click on the fight, look who shows as champion.
That is crazy. Well, it's kind of true.
Kind of messed up is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the main event. It's going to be a huge main event in my book. A lot of people think it's going to be one-sided, but I beg to differ. Of course, I'm talking about Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie, which a lot of people are not giving Korean Zombie
enough, yeah.
And which makes me root for him even more.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people forget Korean Zombie has beat a lot of guys that a lot of people forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
Such like, do you know he beat Poirier?
I remember that.
Korean Zombie beat Poirier.
I remember that. I actually remember that fight.
People don't give Korean Zombie credit. He beat Bermudez as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which no one was giving him any credit in that fight, and he knocked him clean out. People are sleeping on Korean Zombie, forgetting like he with his fight style, he puts pressure on you, and he's not afraid to get hit.
No.
And I think it's that pressure where he thrives, and he has good hands, man. And now he's in this training camp. He's incorporating some wrestling.
Mm-hmm. He's training with
Triple C.
Unfortunately, but hey, nobody's perfect.
He's getting that wrestling in. He never really had that wrestling base like that, so now he's gonna have one. Obviously, training with Triple C and the pressure that he uses, and maybe Triple C gonna help him with that pressure as well. Because Triple C was also a pressure fighter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a good thing. I'm rooting for the Zombie, man.
I definitely am as well. I mean, never been the most fond of Volkanovski. You know, I'm just glad to see him fight somebody else other than Holloway.
Oh yeah,
but
he fought what's his name, Ortega as well. Almost lost his belt. But.
That's true. I forgot about that, man. Yeah, I guess he's been doing the damn thing, huh?
Yeah, people don't really give him his due either, but it's kind of. I mean, he's just not that exciting of a champion, unfortunately. But the guy does do work, so he is a good fighter. Can't take that away from him at all.
He is the champion,
and he has the heart like you won't believe.
He does.
He was supposed to be.
That Ortega fight, he definitely showcased his heart.
Yeah. So it is what it is. Can't take anything away from the guy, but we will see. In my opinion, I say Zombie for the upset.
That would make my night. It honestly would, because Korean Zombie's been around for a long time, and it'd just be good to see him, you know,
get his due finally.
Even if he's not a champion for long, you know.
He's huge over there in Korea, by the way. He's huge over there.
He'd do wonders for that market if he becomes champion. I don't think UFC would go over there, but
yeah.
UFC they are now that things are opening up. They're starting to do more, you know, more international shows or something like that, which is good. I'd love to see it. They do plan to do France. I think they planned France this year, and they are planning to go back to England this year. So that's two very international shows that they're planning on doing.
And they're going back to Abu Dhabi as well.
They have to. I mean, the fight island just works for them.
Yep.
But what I like about these international fights is that there's a lot of fighters that we don't get to see that often, because a lot of the fights are done in the U.S. Especially for the past 2 years, you didn't see a lot of foreign fighters that, like, you know, you saw them. You know, they got visas, they came over, and then, you know, after that, you know. So now you're gonna get a chance to see some of those guys. You know,
those guys
a little more often, which is good. Which is good. It's the way it should be.
Looking forward to that. Of course, we'll do our usual UFC watch party here. You guys feel free to stop by, check it out, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think that just about does it for the podcast. Thank you guys for continuing to tune in and ride with us. Feel free to become a supporter. Of course, you can do that with all our social media handles to the left. You can check us out there on Patreon. You can also hit us up on our Anchor as well, or, you know, follow us wherever you see all the links there. And my brother trying to point out there. With that, you guys continue to be good to each other. Stay safe out there. IsaacBoyz out.